I think we are way overdue for another full length tutorial. So what I'm gonna bring to you guys today is my client Ben, and you guys may have seen Ben before on my Instagram where he had like a nice textured crop top style cut, but he's grown out his hair and he just go through these seasons. You know, I'm gonna try short hair, try long hair. So in today's cut, we're gonna give it a good nice mid to high fade, and he's gonna pretty much brush over his hair, you know. So I was able to do it in a very efficient amount of time. The entire haircut itself only took about 25 minutes. But one thing I'm gonna set a new timer for today is I wanna show you guys that I was able to get the main part of this blend done in just barely over 10 minutes. Barely 10 minutes, I was able to transition from dark length on top all the way down to skin tight, smooth, bald at the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and break this down for you guys today. Definitely enjoy, and if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, just leave it in the comment section below, and let's get into the video. So this cutting style is definitely inspired by the DFS formula that's created by Josh OP. It's not a perfect replica of it. I feel like as you learn the formula, you're gonna take some bits and pieces from it that can help you pretty much throughout your day. So just to be more efficient and to have a good plan for cutting hair. So the main thing I've been able to pick up from it is you always have to split the hair according to the natural growth pattern. Now, usually in the back, that's determined by where the cowlick is or the crown of the hair. And everyone has a natural split in the front. So I'm gonna set that initial trim pretty much to where I want the blend to already be turning dark, where pretty much where the blend is already over and it's graduating into the length up on top. And of course, if he's gonna be brushing his hair over to the side, that means that I can't cut it too tight from the ears forward. So I'm gonna make sure to flare that out a little bit. Of course, like I said, I would encourage you guys to look into that course, the Josh OP course, because it's definitely gonna break down the science behind all the thought processes. But that's the main concept for now. Just flare it out a bit towards from the ears forward, so that way they can have some extra hair to be able to style it. If you notice here in that area, my fingers aren't pressed tight all the way up against his head. So I'm gonna make sure to go back around and I'm gonna just refine it. I'm gonna make sure that the hair is nice and tight all the way around that guideline. So it's nothing crazy right now, just making sure that I go back around and make sure that I didn't miss any hairs. The cleaner that this guideline is gonna be, the easier it's gonna be for me to bring my clipper up into it. So that way we can clear all the bulk down. Now, the reason why I said to split the hair according to hair growth patterns, instead of just making it a perfect even all the way across, is because this step right here is what's gonna balance out the hair. If you notice, when you pick up the hair that's in the top, you're gonna see a point on the left that you've cut, and you're gonna see a point on the right that you've cut. And if you just connect the dots going straight across, that's gonna make sure that you can even out the hair that is on the top. So it's a pretty simple formula, but just a few key things that make it different from your traditional style of cutting hair. You kind of start with the top, set that foundation, and now you know exactly what shape you're gonna be fading into. So this doesn't have to be something that you take a million different partings either. It can be, you can pull up decent sized chunks of hair, you know, just make sure that, you know, you do it multiple times and you make sure that you don't miss any hairs, because you can always go back and refine. But the point is to get the main part of the haircut done as efficiently as possible. And yeah, that way, but just as long as you're doing it mindfully. See, when you're doing this motion here, where I'm now picking up larger chunks of hair from the front to the back and the back to the front, this is where you can cut out all of those peaks and valleys, you know, that may be missed because you're picking up large chunks of hair. So yeah, that's the concept right there. Just set that perimeter all the way around, cut the triangle when you're connecting the left side to the right side, and just doing that mohawk parting, you know, that shape all the way down the middle. That'll help you trim off the peaks and valleys to make sure it's a nice smooth blend. So we have to think about the client's lifestyle, how the client is going to style their hair. Are they going to style their hair all the time, brush it over with the products and the blow dryer? Probably not. So just make sure that you don't forget to refine what the hair is going to look like, what the fringe is going to look like if they leave all the hair just laying forward. So I always make sure to brush that down and make sure that I keep it off of their eyebrows. A little bit of point cutting just to have it, ready. So if they were to not style their hair and just leave it going how it naturally sits, it won't look too crazy. So just, simple thing right there I just want to bring to you. And now what we're going to do is, with a little bit of scissor over comb, I'm going to just tighten up the area that we set that initial guideline in with. I'm going to set that up to just be a little bit tighter so that way it can feed into the guard perfectly. You have to know what your finger length is. In my case, the finger length is a number 4. Someone with slimmer fingers it may end up being a number 3. But I know that if I do that finger length on the side, it's going to blend right into a 4. So I'm just tightening it up a little bit in preparation for when I grab my number 4 guard and I start to clear out the bulk and we can start the fade process. And like I said, once we start that fade process, I want to show you in real time that there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to get a simple blend from dark to bald done in 10 minutes tops. Well, I guess it might have taken 10 and a half minutes in this case. But I'll set that timer and that's going to start very shortly. I just cleared out a little bit of bulk right there with the scissor over comb. And here I am starting with this number 4 guard. Now the goal is not to dig in super deep. I'm going to be doing a bit of a feathering motion. I am going to start with full pressure at the bottom, but then I'm going to just lightly flick out towards the top. Now it's not an exaggerated scooping motion. I like to keep a very up and down motion while I'm clearing out this bulk and connecting the fade to the top of the hair. So like I said, it's not even a whole lot of wrist work. Honestly, I find myself using my whole arm so that way I can do a very straight up and down motion. I'm really rocking that off of the shape of the head to keep a nice square image. Now, the next step that I like to do personally is, instead of using my trimmers to punch in a very harsh bald line, personally I like to go in with my clipper closed. So the thing is that I feel like if you put it in with this clipper, if I put it in with a clipper, it's going to be really easy to fade it out with a clipper. If I put in the line with the trimmer, you're going to end up having to go back to use that trimmer to clear it out, to blur out the line completely. Sometimes that throws off my fade placement and I end up making it way too compressed, having to stretch that out more. So personally, I'll go in with the clipper all the way closed. I'll go over it, I'll refine it. I still want it to look really tight, but I'm just thinking ahead. I feel like doing this makes the next step easier for you when you have to blend that out. And with a similar concept, the next line that I do is, without moving the lever, while my lever's still closed, I'll take my 0 guard and I'm going to create some space so that way I can make that transition from bald to the next level, to the next shade, the next panel. Now, don't be afraid to give them a full inch of space to blend out if you need to. That area right there of the blend is going to be pretty much the most challenging part, but it also is the most crucial part. I think going in with the clipper closed is going to make it a little easier for you though. But that's all part of the efficiency, you know what I mean? So, and that's pretty much everything I'm going to try to do to teach you guys on this channel, is just how to be more efficient. The more people you can get in an hour, the more money you make. It'll put you that much farther ahead, but I'm not going to let you sacrifice quality either. So all of the methods that I do are tested, proven before I even bring them to YouTube. So here, what we're doing now, since I set that base with the number 4, I could have gone a 4 closed, a 3.5, a 3, a 2. No, I'm going to take that number 1 guard with the lever wide open with full pressure at the bottom, but I'm going to graze it. I'm going to go all the way, but pretty much freehand that all the way up to match that number 4 that we initially set in. And then once you're done with that and you do that motion, then you can go ahead and take that number 1 about halfway, graze over that area to blur out that line little by little by little. Gradually do it. Now, if you've never done this before, you might want to start off practicing with that number 3, but practice that grazing motion, where you start full pressure at the bottom and you go straight up into it. You do a free-handing motion. You can practice that with your 3, with your 2, with your 1.5. I just want to show you that it can be done with just the number 1 guard. Now I will say on this Rebel, I do have the Filthy Blends. I have it fully modified with Filthy Blends. I put the stretch bracket on it, which means that when that 1 guard is fully open, all the way wide open, then that means that it definitely is cutting probably at a 1.5 length or so. But this is the first video in about a year that I've had a fully modded Rebel in there, so it can be done with or without. And as you can see now, I pretty much faded my way down all the way to work with that number 1 fully closed, and we're just chipping away at that darkness in the middle area, just little by little, bringing it lower and lower, so that way we can fade it into that bald transition at the bottom. And yeah, I'll check back in with you guys in a minute. We're just gonna keep on chipping away at that darkness. Now I will say I've been practicing to skip this step right here, but in the meantime, we're gonna keep using it. We will take that 0 guard, and remember, since we put in that panel with the 0 guard closed, we should be able to blur it out perfectly with the 0 guard, starting open, grazing over it, and little by little closing it. We just need to blurify this whole section right here. So I'm starting off with that 0 guard open, and then we can little by little just work our way down, work our way lower. But remember, it's literally the same concept that I was talking about 5 minutes ago, where I put in that bald line with the clipper first, because I'm gonna end up blurring it out, fading it out with that same clipper closed. So if I put in that line, that first panel with that 0 guard closed, it only makes sense that I will be able to remove it that much easier using that same 0 guard. It's a little bit different because all the other barbers are going to be teaching you to go in with your clipper open with no guard, and that's okay too. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I am saying this will make it a bit easier. Now right here at this point, you could see I transitioned to get a brush. Actually, this is just a nail brush. I think I saw it at Walmart the other day. They were like 90 cents a piece, so I grabbed 10 of them. And sometimes using a brush with bristles, these are actually plastic bristles that won't wear down as easy as a boar bristle, is easier when you're transitioning from skin tight to that next level, like that 0 close. You don't necessarily need to do this, but if you think about, the plastic comb, it may have 30 skinny teeth there, whereas on a brush like this, it's gonna have about 100 or 150 little teeth, just constantly brushing away. Everything I do is with efficiency in mind, so if you can get your hand on a nail brush like this, it's gonna last longer than a boar brush, like the boar bristles, and it's small. You can put your fingers, you could wrap your knuckles right up in there. So what I'm doing is here I am breaking through that bottom bald line right there. I started off, since I put it in with the clipper all the way closed, I can start chipping away at it with that same clipper closed. That's gonna match the length perfectly. And incrementally, as you move higher and higher and higher, each millimeter, I'm slowly opening up that clipper to kind of break away and fully blur out that line. And it should blend really smooth as we get higher and higher into this fade, because remember that next panel was with the 0 guard closed. So it should work really well. If you do decide to get the filthy bracket that will allow the stretch, the full stretch with the master cutting teeth and the master top blade, I think it'll make it a little bit easier. It could be, I'm not saying it's necessary to have, but I am saying that it's a tool that can make your job a little bit easier. So thank you, Filthy, for this mod. I really appreciate you sending, actually, he sent over a second one, a second little plastic piece, just in case if this cam follower were to break. So he always looks out for me. He always looks out for his customers. So, 10 stars out of 5. But yeah, we're gonna keep on doing that same step over and over again. I'll check back in with you in a moment. I like this clipper combo a lot, man. I actually ended up using the Rebel years ago. I feel like when it first came out, the Rebel was my go-to clipper. And then lately, you guys have probably noticed that in the last 5, 6, maybe 10 videos, I've been using the Instinct. So the thing is that I probably would have kept using the Instinct, but the truth is that they haven't made yet. Now, I think it's in process now. It's in design now, but the full master combo where you can use the moving teeth and where you can use the top blade hadn't been developed yet. It already came with the 4-hole bracket that you can use the master blade on, but it didn't have any kind of adapter that you could use the master cutting teeth. Honestly, I feel like the clipper was just so powerful. It was like too powerful that it would break down all these different, if it's a 3D printed or if it's a weaker plastic, like it would just break those down. So nobody really put that into production. So that's the reason why I went back to the Rebel. But actually, honestly, I'm loving it, man. Like I feel like it still feels really good in hand. The only thing is it's still not small enough to get like, for kids, for example, when you're fading the very back of their neck, sometimes that can get a little rough with a clipper this size. That's kind of where the Instinct came in handy because it was so small. But man, I love it. I still love the Rebel. It's a nice throwback, especially now that I have it fully modified. Way back in the day when my Instagram first started to grow, that was my thing, the fully modded Rebel. So it's nice to be back using it. And of course, like I've always got my discount codes up in the corner if you want to get yourself a Rebel. I believe the Filthy website still uses my discount code, the Tito Cut, so you can get yourself all the modifications. Yeah, you can even get your blades and the blade screws and everything. So look, check this out, guys. Now that we're done with the fading part with the clipper, I'm detailing a little bit. You can use this you can use these thinning shears or any kind of regular shears. You may have seen S-Craft blends before use this method where you're kind of just picking at the little dark spots, just picking away those little dark spots, those little imperfections that you see, and it really helps bring everything together. In this case, in the areas where I'm using the comb, it's because the hair or the dark spot in the hair is not right up on the scalp. It's just a little bit in a little bit of that transition area. So you can see that's a little line that I'm going to be pointing out, that I'm going to be targeting. And that's tight. That's right there tight on the head. That's between that bald and that one guard. So I'm using just, poking at it little by little with these thinning shears. These are fresh shears. I think my discount code still works good with them too. It literally doesn't have to take that long. You could use this fade method and guess what? Another 30 seconds of balding out with a trimmer and shaver at the very bottom of the head. Imagine how many people you can fit in an hour doing that method there. This is one thing here, when I'm blow drying the hair, watching some of the guys here at my shop, I think the first person I saw do it was Jordan, where if you put your finger right there over the crown of their head, it really helps you just blast through that hair with the blow dryer so you can get a lot of the moisture out. And then, I feel like his hair is going to be a bit more voluminous, so I'm using my fingers kind of scrunching it up a little bit while applying the heat. So it's not anything super technical, nothing crazy that I'm doing as far as blow drying the hair. I'm just making sure that I'm keeping in mind the overall style. I know his hair is going to swoop over to that side, so I'm keeping that in mind as I blow dry his hair. So now at this point that I'm at this area right here where the direction really matters, right? Where this has to flow towards the back so that way it could kind of just all flow together. I started to use, actually this is the Josh OP vent brush. And it's been working great for me, man. Honestly, I've learned so much from Josh as far as this system goes, this cutting style. Yeah, I figured why not support him and get his line of the vent brush. He also has the separation comb that's good for styling. That other beige color comb I was using while scissor cutting, that's also another OP comb. So yeah, I think it's a really awesome system. I think it's really awesome products. And yeah, we're just putting them all to use, man, to get the results that we want. So if you notice, sometimes I go into the hair, right, and then I'll curl it backwards. You'll notice that motion sometimes when I really want to get a certain flow going. You know, I wasn't really ever taught technically how to do this, but you know, I just know it works. I experiment with different things, and when I find something that works, I'll bring it over to you guys. So yeah, I really love how this haircut's coming together so far. And we're only about 20 minutes into the haircut. We barely have 5 minutes left to go. So again, it's just all about efficiency. I'm pretty sure the next step that we're gonna do right here is take our OP comb and we're gonna take away a little bit of the bulk. Now you can see that area right there where if you see an area of bulk and you're like, I don't know what's going on there. If you take a vertical section and you look at that hair, that little piece that you pick up, you're gonna see there's 10 times out of 10, there's gonna be a peak of hair. You're gonna see a short length on top and a short length on bottom. You need to snip away that triangle so that way you could help this hair lay a little bit smoother. Anytime you see some bulk, that means that there's some hair to be trimmed there and that it just isn't trimmed to flow evenly, to flow smoothly. This is another thing that I've learned through the course is you see a problem and you learn different techniques on how to identify them and how to get rid of bulk in areas that you don't want it. Am I perfect at this yet? No. Am I the best barber? No. Am I efficient? Yes. And has it helped me increase my income and keep my customers happy with the quality of their haircuts? Yes. So that's what I want to share with you guys. Yeah, man, I mean, honestly, we just got to keep grinding. We just got to keep working. There's a lot of money to be made out there. There's a lot of clients to serve. But the only way we're going to do that is if we become efficient. You know, that's the only way. There, you can see I just used that the thinning shear, the blending shear, so that way I can continue to refine those areas. Now this product here, it's already been out before, but what's new is the fact that it has a spray pump applicator at the very top. So what's really cool about this is the texture powder. Honestly, it's got to be one of the best selling products that I've ever had on my station. So basically what it is, it's a powder that you're going to sprinkle onto their hair. Now you can see here, if you want to spray it just on the surface, or even if you want to lift up the hair and spray it at the core, at the base of the hair, that may be easier to give it some volume. I hope you can see kind of as this whole style is coming together, as we're styling the hair and, you know, making sure that everything around the crown is laying down and it's not sticking up. I hope you can see the value and the reason of why we started cutting it the way that we did, using the DFS formula where I started, where you start the haircut controlling the weight. You know, but before, in the past, when I cut his hair, I would always run into an issue where I would fade his hair a little bit too high and he wouldn't have the proper weight. He would have a lot of hair sticking up around his crown. You know, that was always a challenge for me early on when I would cut his hair, but I feel like ever since implementing this formula, it's been able to help me have a nice balance in my haircuts and my hairstyles, you know, this last year that I've been learning it. So yeah, I hope it's something that can help you. This piece right here actually is a separator comb that I was talking about, where it can kind of create that PC flow. You know, it's kind of like give it that finger look, you know, like you just ran your fingers through the hair. But yeah, I definitely like it, man. And you know, being able to run through the style with it to finish off. Sometimes if you use a little bit of hairspray, using this comb, you can definitely give it a nice cool look. But you see that shape, you see how it's nice and square in the back and the hair is just flowing on top. That's what this formula has helped me put together. So now I just take that, and since I have the stretch bracket right here on the Rebel, when I have that lever wide open, it really helps me blend into some pretty heavy bulk on the side of the beard. Blending that right out, and we're just going to finish this off by balding it. And when this timer hits 0, that pretty much means we've made the last cut on this hair. So as you can see, 25 minutes, that included cutting the top, styling the top, fading in the beard, balding it out. It included the whole entire process. That 10-minute timer in the middle of the video, that shows you how fast and easy it can be to give somebody a nice smooth blend from dark to bald. So I hope that you picked up some gems. I hope you picked up some value from this video. Any comments or questions or concerns that you have, please let me know in the comment section below. So I'm going to speed through the balding out in this last portion of the video, but here I'm going to go ahead and put in the clips for you guys so you can see the finished product. And like I said, any questions, any comments, you can leave them in this comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe. Tune in for the next video.